leaning and then morning. We'll do leaning quickly. I mean, it'll have a fast pace, like we've done it in the past.
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I thought you were
Not,
asking.
no. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, and I'll give plenty of an intro so everybody gets the pace. Yeah. Yes, yes, yeah.
Okay.
Alrighty. Thanks, Lori.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Middlebury Church the Brethren. Our ninth announcements this morning, if you have the bulletin, you can follow along if you would like to. Indeed, a reminder that being the month of July, we are not having fellowship on Sunday school time. It is vacation month for those things. Coming up on our Thursday night activities, one of the things, it's a reminder if anybody goes to the healthy lifestyle groups, this is the second Thursday of the month, so that group meets at 11 a.m. In the fellowship hall, and we do have our 5:30 meal taking place, along with the care and share room is open from 6 to 7. The book discussion meeting happens at 6:30 in the boardroom, and there will be a church board meeting at 7 p.m. This will not be a regular business meeting. It will be a discernment group, but it's still open to anyone, as any of our board meetings would be. At the bottom of the front page there, for any of you that did not know that Barb Anderson does have a new address at Greencroft in Goshen, it's listed there. So you can get that off the bulletin or from the office if you'd like to have that address. Again, a reminder that the 31st of July, the very end of July, will be our Children Dedication and Communion Sunday. So if anybody is aware of any children you'd like to have included in that service, please contact Pastor Janet. She should be back. Will she be back, Sharon, during the week or at the end of the week? She will be back starting Tuesday then, okay? A reminder again for the food pantry. The July month is the month that Middlebury Church of the Brethren helps with volunteers there. If anybody would like to volunteer, actually Beth Snyder is the person to contact on that. That would be for Saturday mornings from 8 to 11. For those of you that like to contribute without necessarily volunteering your time, indeed, the theme for July at the food pantry is having a picnic, so you can donate those types of items, ketchup, mustard, mayonnaise, pickles, canned beans, those types of things that might be used under that type of theory. The other thing I would like to mention before we turn our hearts and minds to our prelude and preparation for worship is if you might include this morning your own personal silent prayer for all of the victims and their families of the shootings this week, and maybe a little bit of a prayer for better tolerance among all of the people in all of our communities. So let's prepare for worship this morning. Our praise music this morning will be Leaning on the Everlasting Arms, which is a flyer, a handout in your bulletin, and then also number 648 from your hymnal, Morning Has Broken. Please stand and join us for praise.
Good morning. Yes, let's stand in body or spirit. You know, this is the time where you see lots of people fishing. I mean, a fishing time of year, so I have a couple of questions for you this morning. What magazine do fish like to read? Field and Stream, that's a good guess. Bowie's Life.
Louise.
Boy's Life, that's the Boy Scout magazine from, yeah, okay, that went over like a, lead balloon. This one I think is a good one. Why don't fish like to go online?
Get caught.
They might get caught in the net. Okay. As John said, we have a couple of, actually, you have three choices. The sheet music, the words right in front of you, and the words up front. So, never let it be said that you don't have choices around here. Okay, we've done leaning on the everlasting arms before, and we like to do it with a little bit of pace.
Grows from day to day, leaning on the everlasting arms, leaning, leaning, safe and secure from all alarms, leaning, leaning, leaning on the everlasting arms. What have I to dread? What have I to fear? Leaning on the everlasting arms, I have blessed peace with my God so near. Leaning on the everlasting arms, leaning, leaning, safe and secure from all alarms, leaning, leaning, leaning on the everlasting arms.
Thank you. Morning Has Broken is next. It's page 648 in our hymnal. Give you all a chance to get that. And of course, we welcome any and all who might be watching the live streaming.
Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the word. Sweet the rain's new fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall
The call to worship is responsive and found in your bulletin this morning. We come together as seekers. We come together to renew our faith. To the God who is the source of goodness and love, let us sing our praise. Please join me together in unison for the invocation also printed in your bulletin. Dear God, I may not see the sun and moon lose their light. I may not witness rivers turn red or stars fall from the sky. Yet there are times when my world becomes unhinged and the foundations of what I believe crack and dissolve. Give me the grace to believe that your power is at work in the turmoil of my life. Lead me to remember that your power is greater than all evil, and though the world may rock and sometimes break, it will in time be transformed by your love. Our next hymn is number 8, Brethren, We Have Met to Worship, in your hymnals, page 8.
Mark, would it be okay? Would it be okay if I move forward a little bit? I feel as though I'm so far away from you. And there aren't as many of us today as sometimes. Number 8.
It's that time to please turn and greet others this morning in Christ's love. Thank you. Are you ready? Indeed, it's time for the children's story this morning. Jill Summer will be leading our children's story. If anybody would like to come join our children this morning, why, please feel free for anyone else that would like to come up and join Jill and the children.
Good morning, Ellie. Good morning, Jill. Good morning, John. Okay, today we're going to talk about orientation. Yeah, so, let's see here. Let me get on your side. So, Ellie, what do you think of that, the way that map is sitting? Think it's right? Do you know how to read a map? No? Can you find something that might be called a compass rose? Have you seen those in other places? This one's pretty cool because it's got, that's the crest of Michigan in the middle of it. 2 elk, or maybe one, it's a deer and an elk. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, and there's a letter there. What's that letter? And do you know that one? Do you know what they stand for? South and north. Which way do you think north should be pointing in a map? If you're looking at it. Yeah, so we got to turn it around. Yeah. So this is the right orientation for the map, this way. So that our N is going up and our S is going down. So another thing I'd like to ask you, what does that look like? What is this shape? has kind of think winter.
What do you use in winter?
Mitten. So, Michigan looks like a mitten. And if I went like this, let's see, gotta go like this. If I went like this, and I said, this is where I'm from, could you find that on that map? Could you find this spot on the map? Where do you think that would be? Perfect. So I can tell you where I live on my hand, or where I used to live. I don't live there anymore. So another thing I wanted to talk about was if you get disoriented, what do you think that means? Okay, do you know what obey means? If you disobey, what happens? You get in trouble because you don't obey, right? So if you are disoriented, what do you think that means? Kind of, dis means it's opposite. This was like disoriented, upside down. So sometimes we get disoriented, and then what happens? If we don't know where we are, what happens? Have you ever been lost? You don't know? Well, I have a short story about my my kids getting lost. We were here in Alpena, in a place called Norway Ridge Park. Norway. I guess it was just Norway Ridge. About 25 miles of trails. So it was me and Mike, my mom, and my grandma, and my son and daughter, and they were about your age, a little bit older. And we had biked those trails, we had skied those trails, we had walked those trails, we knew those trails. So when my kids said, "Can we go up ahead?" And I said, "Yeah, we're taking the short loop, so make sure you turn." And I said, "Or wait, why don't you just wait there at the turn?" So we get up, all the fam gets up to the turn, no kids. 25 miles of trails. So we didn't know quite what to do because we had my grandma, and she was older. She couldn't walk 25 miles. So we were trying to decide what we were going to do to find those kids. And a couple young guys on bikes came down the trails, and we asked them if they'd look, if they saw some kids, if they'd send them back the right way. So they said they would. And we kind of started walking, Grandma back to the parking lot, and me and Mike up for our kids, and here come the kids finally. I think we probably walked about 45 minutes or an hour before we found them. And how do you think they felt? So how would you feel if you didn't know where you were, or they were upset? I think there was a lot of emotions going on. I think they were mad. I think they were scared. I think they were worried. And it all turned out okay. They were tired. They slept a lot that night, next morning, because they had a lot of walking to do. But sometimes it's like that with our lives. We don't get lost in where we are, but we get kind of lost in how our lives are working, and we get angry and worried and upset. And it's good to remember that God is always alongside of us, trying to help with our orientation. So that's my story today, and thanks for coming up, kiddo.
Which one do you have me on, Mark? Okay. Hi, my name's Beth Shawley. Good morning. Good morning, Beth. Okay, it's time for joys and concerns. I know we have one out there, but if you'd like to share with us, we'd like to hear.
And Wayne is at home this morning. He had a procedure this week, kind of a minor correction to a prior surgery. So he's a little uncomfortable. He's doing fine. But keep him in your prayers. Thank you.
I'm Carolyn DeWild. I have the joy of joys. Next Saturday, Gail and her family will be flying in from Phoenix, and it's been almost 4 years since Gail has been here. She came when Penny got married, and that, like a whirlwind visit, I barely remember. So she will be here with her husband and their 3 children, ages 4, 2, and 1. They're flying. They'll get up at something like 3 in the morning. They'll be on the plane for a little more than 3 hours. We'll drive back from Chicago in the car. So a little prayer, if you think about it, for the flying adults and the people on the plane that will have tolerance, compassion, understanding, all of those good words to help them on the flight. I talked to Gerard yesterday, and he says, "Oh, we got a plan, we're good." I hope the kids know the plan. And I would love nothing better than to have them here on Sunday morning, but I am not going to speak for them after they get up and have that full day, and we get them back here to Indiana. I'm just not sure what Sunday is going to bring. Plus the fact that it's a 3-hour time difference, so that would mean church for their body would start at 6 a.m. if I got them here by 9. So we're just really thrilled to have them come. They'll be here for a visit, and we're just so excited about that. And then the other thing was I wanted to express a joy for a brother-in-law that I have whose birthday is today, but I hate to say his name because he'll be embarrassed if I say his name. And we're not going to sing to him because that would embarrass him further, but if you happen to see him today, you might want to wish him a happy birthday.
This is... Can you hear me? Okay. This is the older Beth. Several things. One is, if anybody wants to peek in the fellowship hall, I did. Nancy cleaned the carpet yesterday, but it has to be the biggest job in the world. Would be for me, and it looks wonderful, and thank you. Another thing, 2 things. For the Thursday night meal, we would welcome, a few more helpers at times. So if some week you have the time and the energy, if you could come, it isn't a long time and it's not a lot of work, but it helps relieve the people that are serving to be able to go to eat. Another thing is we use a lot of the styrofoam containers for takeout meals. They're very expensive for the church to buy. And we also have food left over at the end of the meals that people that come can take home, and this is a needed service that we have. And we really could use more plastic containers, small and large, with the lids, from Butter or Cool Whip or whatever. So if you have those, and if you could continue on bringing those if you get them, if you don't need them for yourselves, we would really appreciate having them, because usually once we send them out, they don't come back. And there is a great need, and then we wouldn't have to use so many of the take-home meal containers just for the extra food left over. Thank you.
Hello, we ask for continued prayers for Jill's niece Courtney in Missouri, who still continues to have some struggles.
Hi, Dana Snyder speaking. You notice Thursday night is not regular board meeting, it's a time for discernment. And I've been waiting for that for some time and would like to share, and I'd like to hear your concerns and share. And we're going to make a little adjustment in our Bible study. We're going to start that at 6:15, be out at 7, so all who want to be part of that can also be part of the discernment talk at 7 o'clock. Thank you.
Jerry Bontrager. Julie's sister Jackie had a small stroke on Thursday and apparently another one last night. So tomorrow she'll be going into the hospital for tests, the way I understand it. Keep her in your prayers, Jackie.
This is Marge Miller. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to blare out. On the news, I have a really big concern. The things that are going on in Texas, Mississippi, and around the country with the police and the colored and the problems with the black and the white. I think we need to pray because we're all human. We all, we all are God's children. And I don't care what color you are or what belief you are or whatever you are. You're part of God. And they need God. And I think we need to pray that they find a way to get back to God and put God in their lives, and I think they'll be all right. But there's too much of this ration, I can't say it right, going on, and that's for anybody and everything. And we need to stop that. And we just need to be as part as one another and as God's children. And that's my prayer for today and my hope for the future and life. Thank you.
Thank you.
I feel like I need to make a clarification. What we're doing Thursday night at the board meeting is a discernment listening practice, but we will have a focus question on what does growth mean to the church. So I know there's been discussion about having a session where people could voice what might be on their heart or so forth, but this is a focus question and we'll be using discernment listening principles. You're still welcome to come. I just want to make sure you understand what we're doing.
Okay, let's gather our thoughts and hearts in prayer. Dear God, we come to you right now with needs and hopes, not only for those who are recuperating, Wayne who's recuperating, people who are excited to travel in and be with family, birthdays, grateful for clean carpet. We ask that you be with Jill's niece, Courtney, and for discernment about growth and the future of our church. We also ask that you be with Jackie with her TIAs and also with the testing that she's facing, and also be with the family that is supporting her and worrying for her right now. And we also would like to back up what Marge said about we are all God's children and we all need to stop and think before we act. That peace may come to this country once again. So we just ask that you be with those concerns that are also unspoken today. Those of our congregation who are traveling, may they have mercies and be safe on the roads. So we ask all these things in your loving name. Amen.
Offering hymn this morning is found in your hymnal, page 393.
Number 393.
Please bow for the offering prayer. God of grace, it is our delight and our devotion to give these gifts to you. All we are and all we have are yours alone. Accept this joyful offering as our token of our abiding love. Use it to bring peace, justice, and comfort to all the world. Amen. This morning's scriptures you can look up in your pew Bible. The first one is out of Psalms 32:8, which is found on page 507 in your pew Bible. Psalms 32:8. I will instruct you and teach you the way you should go. I will counsel you with my eye upon you. The second scripture this morning is found in the New Testament. And your bulletin says page 107, but it's actually on page 108 on the New Testament in the upper right top. That is John 13, verse 34. I give you a new commandment, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you also should love one another.
Let's get some energy going here. Stand up. Stand up. Okay. Hi, Beth. Hey, Beth.
Wiggle around. Wiggle those hips. Get them going. Okay. Thank you. Can you have a seat? Okay. Title of my sermon. What is your orientation? It's going to be participatory sermon, so get used to being up and around and active. So, anybody got a guess? What's your orientation? Pardon? You love the outdoors? Okay. The water? Okay. Motorcycles. Okay. Keep working. Keep working. Pardon? Pardon? Okay. Naps? Okay. Keep working. Keep working. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You've had some hints here. Jill. Think Jill. Think what Jill was talking about. Yes, thank you. Okay. All right. Yeah, I love play on words. So I thought, you know, we're an open and affirming church. What is your orientation? You're going to think straight, gay, you know, transgender, whatever. But in this case, it literally means, what direction are you headed? And that can be literally and figuratively. It's summer, time to celebrate the outdoors, which many of you have already mentioned. So today we'll bring an outdoor skill indoors by using a compass and learning some things about a compass. How many of you know very much about a compass? Oh, Tyler, good. Yeah, I already, okay. Yeah, all right. Well, at the end, after learning some about a compass and something else, we'll tie it all together with how that relates to our religious and spiritual life. Okay. These are all my things I use when I go out for a hike. And you could say I'm well covered when I go out for a hike. Because I carry 5 compasses. Here's one. As you can tell, I have a lot of junk in there. Here's 2. Those are the real ones. Then, there's one on the end of my safety whistle. And there's one on each of the ends of my hiking sticks. All right? So 3 out of the 5 are just general directional ones. These 2 are the ones that would actually help me navigate. At this point, I want to show you a visual, because if you go out into the woods, you need a good base plate compass, okay? So it'd be good if you knew the parts of the compass. Mark, you want to cue it? Oh, it's up. Okay. So these are the basic, this is a simplified version, but the basic parts that you need to know about, at least for today with me, you've got your base plate, you've got your needle, and then you've got your housing. And that's the part that you turn, the dial. And that's what helps you navigate when you need to turn it to like 15 degrees, 300 degrees, whatever. So that shows you what most compasses look like. There may be more detailed, they may be simpler, but that's the basic idea. The main point that you want to do when you start turning the dial is, you see the red arrows? There's a term called Fred in the shed. And you always want to make sure that you have the turning needle in that red arrow inside the housing. And that's called putting Fred in the shed. And that helps you get your directions, get you turned in the direction that you want to go. To confuse you further, because I still have a hard time keeping these 3 things separate. There's true north, magnetic north, and grid north. Grid north is what you see on maps, and that's where you're literally, the arrow is pointing up. True north is a straight line to the North Pole, and magnetic north is something that changes And that's simply the magnetic poles. And we have the distinct advantage. If you were to go to Dick's or some sports store around here and buy a compass, if you lived right here in this area, you would be lucky enough that you wouldn't have to worry too much about a thing called declination. That means that you could just take your compass, you could go outside, you can use it. Because this area right here happens to be right on a line where the angle between true north and magnetic north is almost nil. So you don't have to change it too much. I think it's 4 degrees or less. So there's this angle between true north, that straight line that goes to the North Pole, and then magnetic north, which is what pulls the compass. So you have to take those two things into account when you're using your compass. If you were to live on the west coast or the east coast, before you even started using your compass, you would have to account for that declination. And it's not easy, and I've got a bubble in my good compass to prove it, but you have to turn your dial so that it accounts for that declination, that change in angle, so that every time you go to use your compass, you don't have to do, there's these formulas and things like that that I've tried to figure out. But if you change the dial, it pretty much does the work for you. But like I said, it becomes kind of tricky, and I've got a bubble in my liquid now to show that for when I adjusted it. So yeah, I've got 5 compasses, and as Jill pointed out, it's important to have a good map when you go out it. Am I too close?
Yeah, turn it out a little bit.
Okay, is that better? Okay. It's important to have a good map when you go out hiking. And as Jill said, July 4th weekend, the really hot Saturday, I went to Bonneville Mill, and I thought I wanted to pick up flour, which is the best flour ever. So I thought, I'll go for a hike, and I'll do the north part. And I've hiked this before, a number of times. Hiked the whole park at one shot. But this time I thought, no, I'm just going to do the north loop. And I wanted to get all the way up by the entrance to E.B. Pines. So I started heading up there, and I picked up a copy of their map. This is their map. And what I quickly discovered, again, was the fact that their map is vastly oversimplified. And when it's a heat index of, oh, I don't know what it was, and you start hiking at close to noon, like I did, always running behind, you get hot and you get tired pretty quick. And so even though I knew where I was, I got up to this one main shelter, and I thought, oh, this is the turnoff, and it takes me on this loop. Well, I pretty quickly discovered, no, after about another 15 minutes of hiking, that I was not going in the direction that I wanted to go. And so, to my surprise, I found myself referring to one of these compasses, and it told me which direction I was going. And I looked at the map. There was absolutely no indication of where this trail was going. So, yeah. And then I got up. I knew I was closer to E.B. Pines, and I'm hiking along this trail that's right along the edge of the park, and there's a fence, and then there's houses. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, I'm hiking north, and those houses are on my west side. And I got to thinking, I was looking at the traffic on that road, and I thought, those cars are going too fast. Got out my compass, looked down again. No, I was going east, and that was 120 on my left. And I thought, oh, that's cute. So I looked at the map, and at least that part was accurate. And so then I got going back around. But I thought, if you had been somebody who headed into those trails, wasn't familiar with the park, wasn't familiar with how to figure what side of your shoulder the sun is on, read the roads, I knew the roads locally, it would have been very easy to get lost because the trails that are on the ground do not match the map. So that pointed out to me the importance of having a good map and being able to use your compass. Even though I wasn't having to get out and measure exactly what degree I was facing, at least having a compass that told me, oh yeah, now you're going east, now you're going north, that was helpful. So this is the point where I want to have some volunteers, and there's going to be a point to this little exercise. Who's got their smartphone with them? Hold them up. Okay. Who's got an app on their phone that's a compass? Okay? All right. So I need maybe 4 or 5 volunteers willing to come up and go on a bear hunt. Who's willing to bring their smartphone up and go on a bear hunt? Okay. Okay. All right. And I need one more volunteer. Doesn't have to have a smartphone. One, okay, Lori. Actually, I'll give you this one. Okay. Well, it says something right now, doesn't it? Okay. I'm going to send you out on a bear hunt, supposed bear hunt. This is going to camp season, so that's a good old-fashioned camp song or camp ditty, going on a bear hunt. So what you guys are going to do is you're going to go on a bear hunt. And really, all you're going to do is go around that section of benches over there, cut through there, and then you're going to come back up here. And one by one, I'm going to, quote, take you out. Okay? All right, so let's go on a bear hunt. Okay, just start walking. All right, stop. Okay. Check each other's phones out and see who has the least amount of signal. Okay, who's got the least amount of signal? Okay, go ahead and sit down. Oh, just one of you. Just one of you. Just one. Okay. Keep going on your bear hunt. All right, stop. Okay. Check your battery supply. Who's got the least amount of battery? Okay, whoever's got the lowest, sit down. Okay, keep going on the bear hunt. All right, stop. Okay, now this is a stretch, but work with me here. One of you, your data just got throttled. So it's taking your phone 10 minutes to process every single tap or movement. So you're stuck. Some teenager in your household watched 3 movies and, your unlimited data is suddenly throttled. So one of you have a seat. Okay. You can keep going on your bear hunt. Okay, stop. All right. You're standing next to a pond, fumbling with your phone, and oops, there it went in. So there goes your iPhone with all your orientation capability. Okay, who's left standing? Lori, and she's got the real compass. So stop right there, take a bearing. for the pulpit. You can pretend if you need to. And come back home. That's okay. All right, you made it. Okay, all your little bear cubs can go back home now. Thank you. Okay. The importance of this exercise was not just to have some fun, but it kind of illustrates that when you go out in the woods, you need to be prepared with the appropriate gear. And I've found out one time I tried to use my iPhone, and yeah, it was just not working. It was nifty because it gave me the GPS coordinates, but it was working so slowly that it really wasn't reliable. So yeah, it's just important to have the correct gear, to have the right things to prepare you for what you are doing. One of the things that you might not know about is there is actually a sport called orienteering. And one of the things that I've done, some Boy Scouts created an O course, or orienteering course, at one of the county parks in Benton, Indiana. And it's pretty nifty. If you want to try it sometime, go down there, you pick up the brochure, it gives you the headings. You can either use your GPS or you can use your compass. But there's 24, 25 points that you have to find throughout the park. And then you end up at the start point. The only suggestion I would say is if you're a woman, don't go alone because that park has a well-known creepy factor. So one of the last things that I wanted to talk, or just a little treat to show you about. Here in the U.S., orienteering is not so much a big sport. Indy has a club, Chicago has a number of O-meets, but over in Europe, it's a real thing. And over in Europe, you can get really good compasses. Here in the U.S., it's kind of sketchy to get a really good compass. Silva used to be the name in compasses around the world. Well, Silva US is not the same now as Silva Europe. This is just information. So yeah, if you buy a Silva compass in the US, it is not near the quality as if you were to buy one over in Europe. That's just an FYI if you want to go out and buy a compass. But yeah, they have these O-meets, and so I've got a video to show you what an O-meet or an orienteering meet is like, and it's at a pretty elite level. So Mark. No sound on it? Huh. I don't know how they do this one. There's the sound.
Take the syllables and then we'll
know that the U.S. has that. I think that's mostly over in Europe. But anyways, to tie it all together, how does this relate to our spiritual life, to our Christian life, our religious life? So here's another little exercise. We're using parts of the compass and parts of orienteering. What serves as our base plate? Think hard. What serves as our base plate? It's right in front of you. Who said it? Bible. Yes. Your Bible is your base plate. Okay? Your map. What's your map? This might be a bigger stretch, but what helps you in your Christian life, your religious life, on a weekly basis, guide you, be with you? I heard it. Good answer, Marge. Who said it? Church. Thank you. Church. Okay. And who is our true north? Jesus. Thank you. Jesus Christ. So if we keep our spiritual life and our Christian life oriented correctly, focused on our true north, may our life go in the direction and the path that we are meant to go. May it be so.
Our closing hymn this morning is Guide My Feet. It's found in your hymnal on page 546. Please stand for a closing hymn.
Let's stand in body or spirit, please. 546.
Water